everybody, Jacob from Dundon Motorsports. Today we're installing the Dundon Motorsports 718 GT4 exhaust system. Okay, we have the car up in the air. I did remove the wheels. Hopefully you can figure that out. So we're gonna want to take the rear wheels off. It's gonna make everything much easier. And right now we're gonna go over the underbody panels because on the new 718 they are quite intricate. So we're gonna give you a good overview of how to get these pieces off. You can do it with leaving this rear piece on, but it does make it easier to get rid of it. So we're gonna take it off. So you've got a couple fasteners here, 2 in the rear, and there's gonna be 2 more up front. So we're gonna get those off. Once all the fasteners are out, this piece is going to want to come backwards to get it off. You can see it slots in the rear there. So next we're just going to move forward on these pieces. The only thing to really mention here, you got some rear fasteners here. You want all the ones in the rear. You're going to come up to this triangle piece for this air duct. You just need to take this one out. These 2 can stay. So, and then a couple more up front. So we'll take this one off. You will notice there's a couple tabs here. It's important to note for a couple reasons you can't just pull this one off. It's going to slide backwards, kind of like the rear piece did. Also important to note that you get those hooked back on when we're going back on. She can be a little tight up around the sway bar area on the sides for this duct too, coming on and off. So now we're going to go to, let's call it the mid. I don't know, there's so many panels on this new car for aero. Our next piece up is, once again, as we work forward here. This one gets a little bit more complex. There's a couple of hidden 10 mils, and those guys are up. There's 2 holes here, 2 holes here. If you look up, you'll see 1 10 mil there. The other 2 are more towards the rear section here. If Eric can pan over and get that. So you got those couple 10s. Now this one is going to do, you can see it's going to be held in this area. So even after everything's loose, you can kind of, which is kind of nice, you can loosen everything and then manipulate. I also like to take this forward panel loose. That way when it is loose, I have a little bit of flexibility to slide it in and out. I just don't want to take the whole entire thing loose, so we'll start cracking this one loose. All right, so this is why I loosen this piece up. We'll pull off your other studs. Gives us enough flexibility, hopefully, pull it out from that forward piece and then slide out. These can be a little tricky around the racks, but never too dramatic. Next we're going to remove the side rails here, the support rails. So 16 millimeters, and we're just going to go down the rail. Yeah. Then repeat on the other side. Next, we're going to do the supports for the catalyst / headers. You should have 2 E12s up there. We're going to take those guys out. All right, so the next thing I like to do is get the O2 sensor wires disconnected, so you'll be able to trace them back. I mean, follow them obviously from the exhaust system up to this area. So I like to undo them. There are some clips as you follow them up, these style clips that need to be undone, and those continue up along the car. So we're going to get those loose so that the O2 sensors and everything will just come out with the exhaust system. So we're just going to hang them down like that, and then when we take the entire header unit out, they'll come with. Just easier way, and then plus there's going to be some extensions pieces, some extenders that come with the kit to extend the O2 sensors, especially for the rear O2 sensors. So we've lowered the car back down. That's the way I like to get these. On this triangle flange, we're going to want to take all these nuts off here, and then we'll do that on both sides. Leave this free hanging, and then we're going to drop this unit. All right, so next it's just the manifold bolts, so all 9 of them. So triple square or 12 point, as it's often called. So these guys, we're gonna loosen these guys out. I like to leave just one somewhere in the middle. Grab that one last and drop the whole unit down. Once everything's loose, the unit should kind of drop down and out. You're going to tug against that flange a little bit. And she's out. So basically, repeat that on the other side. All right, so next we're going to remove the mid pipe back to the muffler. The first thing you want to do is get the vacuum line loose and then pull it off the valve at the rear. So we're going to do that. Take her loose and then take off the 12mm nuts in the back of the unit, and that should be loose enough to remove it. All right, once all the 12mm nuts are off, just pull her forward. I'm gonna rotate her up real gently and carefully and remove the mid pipe. So you've got a couple gaskets in the back, these O-ring style gaskets. We use these a ton in our V-bands, so you have another one that goes here. Go ahead and slap those guys in, and then this piece is gonna go up to our muffler connection.
Are you filming this?
Are we filming this?
Yes.
All right, so we've got the new manifold, the new header, ready to go. We stripped off the primary O2 and installed it. So then we're gonna, just in the same way that we came out, we're gonna install the header first and work backwards from there. Then fit your gasket, make sure that that stays in there. We'll move to the next step. Take the over axle and go over the axle. We're going to want to fit that up to our clamp and get it in place. Now note, once you're on there, you're going to want to keep an eye and mindfulness of coming in contact with the chassis, because it's really close. We're opening up the size, the diameter of the pipe, so we want to keep it close to the chassis, but we're not coming in contact to it. So hang your other V-band. For this gasket, I mean, I'd say set it in there. Sometimes I use a little shmooey to keep them in there, but it's just gonna fall. We're gonna wanna guide that one in with the elbow. Make sure that the gaskets are installed on your elbow. It goes to the rear of the muffler. And then we can fit it in this side, and then we're gonna just fit that upward and kind of marry them together. Fortunately, that surface is flat, so we can sneak them up there. There's some movement in this guy, so we'll sneak those up, put them together. Now don't tighten those down yet. Seems like an obvious thing to say, but we've learned we have to say a lot of obvious things. Run in all of your fasteners for the elbow where it joins at the muffler, the valve section. And then again, while leaving these loose, what we want to do is come in here and check to make sure that we're not making contact with the chassis. And we can move that around on the flanges until we get a nice gap there. Now again, we don't want it to be huge. You shouldn't be able to move it super far away. But sometimes I stick a screwdriver up in there just to make sure, because sometimes also when you're tightening up the V-bands, it likes to rotate. And then snug those up, no more than about 20 Newton meters. Should do the trick. Sometimes we see guys hammer those down too hard, just strip them out. But make sure the gaskets are in place. Maybe use a screwdriver to shim that as you snug one up. So snug them up, moving from the header back to the muffler. Before you do that, make sure you have all the bolts in the rear section. And again, 20 Newton meters for torque on the rear flange, the muffler should do the trick. And then install your rear O2 sensor. And again, these will, by the time these come into production, you'll have a harness to extend these the length to reach back to this portion.